Evening all, welcome to this FanFest. I don't know what this is, but yeah, this is, look, Mr. Rouge, and they're about to play our video, so I'm actually going to do a director's chat over it. Trouble's in the background, she'll shout something as we go. Yes, that's right, we were asked to do the keynote video retrospective for Dust. It doesn't look great on this stream because we actually were watching it on the lowest quality stream possible. I think we might as well have just used dial-up. I think it was about as effective, but it was a great pleasure to be able to say bollocks to everybody in front of gaming press, in front of everybody who loves Eve. It was really great to actually just put in 20-foot high words bollocks. That was a real pivotal moment for this channel. So yeah, basically the secret's out. I'm not going to confirm or deny if we were part of it. All we were asked to do was a video, and much fun it was. This was a real mashup of all the stuff we'd done in a year, so we had a bit of fun with it. There's our Predator thing we did, and hopefully people liked it, because again, you know, our brief was to do something funny in 30 seconds, which is just impossible. So it actually took us 2 minutes. Which I feel is a failing generally, but I think we achieved something that had a bit of our typical humour in it. But two more difficult topics, I guess. The video really was a retrospective of what Dust achieved in the years, or the year, well, it's about a year and a half, maybe a year, almost 2 years that it's been out. It's not going anywhere, so I don't know why people are raging already, but Project Legion has now been formally announced, which is obviously really good news. And we're going to talk about that in a moment, but I just wanted to conclude this first part because I like the way that Rouge did this. It was a very, and that's a shameless plug. Look at that. We said if you want a video from us, we're going to have a shameless bit of plug. And if you're wondering what the Chinese writing underneath Finn was because he's French. Do you get it? That's how I like this word for finish. And the Chinese writing underneath it said thanks for all the hard work to the CCP guys in Shanghai. And what Rouge then obviously goes on to talk about was community. Now we're just going to obviously, you know, go straight to the important piece here, which is Project Legion. Now obviously if you've watched the forums, you've seen that there is already a brand, trademark, copyright, something for Eve Legion. So I think you're probably guaranteed that's what the engine's going to be called. But this was a really important FanFest keynote because I think it doesn't try and patch and develop something else, a product already out there. It tries to create a new way of doing this. And for the year we've been doing this channel plus, we have always been saying that we want Dust to be more like Eve. Eve is a game that we all enjoyed. Dust is a great game, but it feels constrained, and the word constrained is how I would reference this. And what we actually wanted Dust to do more was the sandbox open world environment like Eve, where you can go and have encounters and stuff. And that is what we have been presented to today. So hopefully, again, this video does rely that you've seen the content, but this in essence is what we are on about. It is PvE, it is player trading, it's the multiplayer openness, it's a less, or rather non-constrained world. And I think, quite frankly, this is the only way the game could have gone. Otherwise, it would have been, I think, a kind of terminal decline. And I think we need to say some quite difficult words here, but Dust has never had tens of thousands of players. The most it ever got was 9,000 people on at one point. It has many, tens of thousands of followers, but again, on a daily basis, 2,500, 3,000 at any one point. And this is why Project Legion potentially is the next logical step. This is a big deal, and I think this is something that, again, I'm so happy. I'm so overjoyed to hear this. Now, it is going to cause...
You can really hear how happy he is.
Yeah, thanks, Treble. Get back to work. One of the things that I think we always have an issue with the PS3 is the community that play PS3 games. Is that, you know, Dust has a great community. There's a real sense of ownership of that game. But as he shows there, on the huge thunderous rounds of applause, Legion is going to be on the PC. Which is interesting. I mean, that is quite interesting because that maybe denies some Dust players their future of their enjoyment of the IP of Mercs on the Ground in Eve Universe. And you may notice that Hilmar was very careful with how he phrased it, because he didn't say the future of Dust. He said the future of Eve mercenaries on the ground, in the Eve universe. And he was very carefully chosen those words, because Dust is not going anywhere. But I think to say that Dust is going to be around forever is potentially wrong. This will make a lot of people unhappy, and I'm one of them, because I enjoyed the fact that Dust was a console game, or rather is. Look at me using past tense already. I like the fact that the Legion product is going to be on the PC, because the PC, I think, think about some of the stats out there. You've got, 500,000 Eve players now? Maybe more. Maybe more accounts, certainly, but you've got at any one point 50,000 people logging into Eve, so that's a pretty good, strong number. Even if you just had 10% of that, you've already beaten Dust's 2,500 people at any one point. The nature of the game as well is so restrictive. Why try and fix a product that was designed to be almost like a 16v16 shooter, and why not try and just make a game that is customized to the Eve universe? And this is why I think the whole World of Darkness thing is obviously very well timed, because again, Hilmar said very clearly at the start of FanFest in the welcoming speech that World of Darkness is gone, and their product, their business, their CCP's raison d'etre is going to be the Eve universe. And in fact, he even said internet spaceships are serious business. And we didn't know he did that, because in our video we obviously say bollocks to serious business. So I'm ready to be banned when you're ready, Hilmar. But look at this. This is it. This is released footage finally of Legion, and isn't it looking amazing? The fact that it's on PC gives it much more flexibility in terms of UI, in terms of capability, I think in terms of architecture, just generally. The ability to link to the Eve universe is always going to be difficult, going from PlayStation Network and Sony all the way over to the Eve servers. So it does make sense. I'm literally conflicted, because I do understand that this could mean that some of our wonderful community are not going to transfer across. But we'll come to that, because again, I wouldn't let this be a blocker to you right now. This is more than just a tech demo. It's more than just a clever video. It's an actual game that these guys have been working on for some time. They even said it. And this is a beauty, because this means that it is much further down the road than possibly we realize. The fact that it's linked to the Eve universe, I think, is incredibly important, because Dust isn't. Other than orbitals, which is a patchy mechanic at best, I think this is actually very important for the future of the game. And I honestly could say, hand on heart, with the word honestly thrown in one more time, I couldn't see Dust surviving much longer. I honestly can't, because again, my whole killing the game thing was timed nicely, luckily, because I think, I played last night, and every match, it was people who do not deviate from their fittings. They do not deviate from what makes them win. They will do anything they can to win. They don't have a sense of wonder when playing this game. Too few people play this game without the sense of wonder of enjoying the sci-fi experience. They play it as a sensory high to win, so that their brain goes, ping, I won, and I feel better now. And that is a crutch. This game should never have become a crutch. COD and Battlefield 4 are crutches. Dust and Project Legion should have always been more. And from what I see, they're going to be more. They're going to be a much bigger game. They're going to be something that really, quite frankly, is going to be another Eve on the ground. But it's going to be about a lifestyle. It's going to be about an experience. It's going to be about huge communities fighting for planets and enjoying, everything. And look at this. That map is brilliant. I love this. Look at that. You have environmental conditions on planets, meteorites. What? This is getting exciting. This is really getting cool. Yes, you'll still have PvP, but you'll also have PvE, as he said. This is the travel towards that. You'll maybe have exploration. Maybe you'll send your war barge to a planet and then you'll explore the planet. This could only ever happen with a complete redesign of the core of the game. And I'm sorry to say that, but that is true. Could they have pushed the PS3 more and to do more? The answer is no, because the PS3 is dead technology now. The PS4 is what they're focused on. And I think a lot of people, including myself to a degree, were expecting maybe them to relaunch it on the PS4. They have gone completely above and beyond. They've created a new game. This is Dust IP, intellectual property, in a whole new game, and it's a game on the PC, and it's going to be a game that is just linked to this huge sprawling universe that means something to a lot of people, and I honestly think this is going to be amazing. Let's look at what we're seeing here. So we're on a map now, ready to deploy. Look at the environmental conditions, look at lava, fire. This is such an amazing view of what we're getting. Look at the buildings, look at everything you see there. The size of the maps, if you notice, that's a huge map. Think of how small and crap those current Dust maps are. Look at how huge and open and sprawling these are. Imagine fighting rogue drones. Imagine dropping onto this planet with your gang, getting in a dropship, and then just buzzing over this landscape looking for enemy drones to fight. Think how amazing that would be. I really do hope people are as excited about this as I am, because look, you've got the rail rifle, you've got your suit HUD, you've got everything that you're familiar with. So pretty much this is the entire Dust IP. So if you have an interest in tanking, or if you have an interest in particular things, don't worry, it's not going anywhere. Well, it is. It's moving across to a platform that I think will better manipulate and draw out this game in its entirety. Dust, in conclusion, was always constrained by the fact that it was on PC, that you were limited to 16v16 battles. Imagine if you have an unlimited cap here. Yeah, you're going to get lag. Yeah, you're going to get problems. But just think about how amazing it could be to goon rush a planet with 1,000 mercs. Yeah, it's going to cause problems. But think of the best game you've ever had on Half-Life Deathmatch on a 100v100, or think of the the best PlanetSide 2 experience you've ever had. This is what potentially, maybe, awaits us, and I think this is a real incredible moment for us, because we just saw something that just completely went ping. This is brilliant. Look at the environment. This environment is gorgeous. Oh, someone's calling in a tank. Quick, let's orbital it. And this is the thing that I think always bothered me about Dust in the way that the game was, is that it never really, it was such a formulaic shooter, rock, scissors, paper, because I see a tank called in, right, let's call in a railgun seeker and shoot it on the hill. It's become so formulaic, it's almost completely negated any strategic or tactical ability. Good players are good because they have just the unlimited capability to call in huge amounts of ISK or the best drop suits. That's no troll, that's just that's an observation. And the game engine was always limited because, let's face it, it didn't look the best. Look at how good this looks. This makes PlanetSide 2 look like a pile of poo. And this is really quite excellent. I think this is really quite an incredible step forward. Just this tech demo, I'm already quite impressed with what we're seeing here. Look at the reflection. I noticed that. Look at the reflection of the water. So you could have environmental conditions, rain, storms, sandstorms. I'd love to fight on a desert planet. That would be amazing. The guns still are there. The concept's still there, so your war points, your clones, the whole piece is absolutely still there, but I think what they've done is draw it much better into a game that I think is probably what we all thought Dust would become anyway. So this is weird, because Trouble and I watched it, and I think we kind of looked at each other and said, I didn't faint, no.
Yeah, you did.
But I think we sat and watched it and we thought to ourselves, but this is what I always thought Dust would become. As an EVE player, we always were told and assured and told that this is what Dust would become. And it's just ironic that it's now going to be in another game. Now, people are maybe going to be upset about this because of the console change. We're obviously going to move away from the console. And we'll talk about that perhaps in another video, but I really do want to stress, you can buy PCs that will play this game for less than a PlayStation 4. I'm serious, you can. And this could be, oh, look at that, that's an orbital. Oh my God, they always got orbitals wrong in the previous game. That is incredible. I love that. I think in general, and maybe as we kind of, I guess, get a little bit too excited about this, I think in general what we're seeing here is a very interesting future indeed. There's going to be some drama on the road, and I think it's just inevitable that unfortunately drama has to happen, and I think change is not an easy time. But I would stress that what we're going to get here is the game that many of us, I think, originally and initially wanted to play. I suspect Dust maybe isn't going anywhere for a long time yet, because it's a free game. As long as the numbers stack, CCP will have no interest in switching it off, so don't fear that that's coming. But I honestly would say there was never really much of a future of Dust on PS3, let's be honest. Let's just be quite honest with ourselves with that the PS3 is a redundant, dying technology. Yes, there's still 80-90 million of them out there, but it doesn't mean that they're going to be around for the next 10 years. And what EVE and CCP have always shown is something that is something that I think, quite honestly, they want to produce a product that will stand the test of time. And you can really do that only on consoles that don't change every 3 years. And I'm afraid that's where the PC is a good choice. I celebrate this choice. I love it. I'm a PC gamer at heart, so to me this is going to be obviously something I'm really behind. I know a lot of people are going to be really upset, and I hear you, and I think post in the comments, be honest, tell us what your honest opinion is, because I know a lot of you have never even played a PC. You don't even own a PC. And I think to have this happen, maybe you see this as a betrayal. Maybe you see this as an issue.
Yeah, but we know PS is a bit poo anyway, really. I'm an Xboxer and a PC player. I hate PlayStation. That's why I didn't play Dust.
You just said pretty much a game community inclusive, entirely PS3 owning, that you actually play Xbox. You've just lost your credibility. You are no longer allowed to talk. Oh, stop it. So I think, we're joking, of course, but I think in conclusion, congrats to this team here. They've produced an incredible revelation, and I hope people really are. I mean, Valkyrie's little announcement yesterday was obviously very good. I think what we've got here is a new game. A new game that is incredible, and I really am excited to play this. And it could be some time away. Dust isn't going anywhere, so everyone chill for the time being. But I think honestly, this is going to be something that we're really going to be watching on this channel. We are probably going to become Eve Legion the channel, because that's our I think our raison d'etre is we love everything Dust, and we love what we see here. So congrats to Rouge, congrats to the team, and don't panic. There'll be plenty of time, I think, to negotiate and discuss and see where we go from here. But I think, I would ask everyone to engage in the change. And I think, when you look at it, it's actually a really good thing, because it means Dust isn't going to die. Well, it kind of is, but it isn't. Well, a little bit. Maybe.
Seriously. Come on. End it.
Maybe it's going to die. All right, we'll end it there. Hope you enjoyed that. We'll see you next time.